Hi boys and girls, Mrs. Walters back again. And today's art lesson, this is video 2 for today, and it will be our drawing lesson for the story I just read to you, The Museum. Okay, here's the example of what you're going to be working on today. We are going to use space. We're going to use space and fill up everything here on a big white piece of paper. Fill that space up with as many canvases of famous art that you can put on your paper. Okay, and I'm also going to show you how to draw children, showing the backs of their heads, just like in the story, the little girl looking through the museum. And I'll show you how to draw that. You can draw one child, you can draw two kids, you could draw a whole family. I'm going to leave that up to you. Okay, now this lesson ended up being a little bit too long, so I needed to shorten it up. I went ahead, started my example already, and I drew it all with a pencil, and I'm going to be talking about how I drew my canvases, my famous art. We're going to review the artist real quick. Okay, I'm going to bring it up nice and close. It's hard to see pencil drawing, so I've already drawn it, and now I'm going to use my black marker to outline it and talk about that famous art and our art elements along the way. I'm going to set it up so that y'all can see it. Okay, so I started with a pencil and a large sheet of paper. If your largest sheet of paper is 9 by 12, that's fine. If you have anything bigger than that, that's great. Or if it's smaller than 9 by 12, that's fine too. So paper and a pencil, and then we're ready to get started. Before I drew the kids down here, I went ahead and filled up my space with rectangles and a square and a circle. So canvases don't have to be just one shape. So show me some different shapes. I wanted to show like a cool picture frame right here. Okay, some of the famous art hangs in big picture frames. So after I drew my rectangle, all the way around here, this will be for Starry Night, okay? I went inside and I drew a smaller rectangle on the inside of the large rectangle. All right, so we have our vertical lines and our horizontal lines. Here are our horizontal lines going across and the vertical lines going up and down. Now I need 4 diagonal lines. All right, and this diagonal line really gives it that look of a nice framed picture, that diagonal line. For our Vincent van Gogh Starry Night, we're going to see all sorts of lines in here. Wavy lines for the tall cypress trees that Van Gogh would paint in so many of his landscapes. Okay, those tall wavy lines. We also have some long wavy lines in the background for the village. Looks like it's nestled in a mountainside. We've got some mountains here. And there's a little village when Van Gogh was painting Starry Night that he could see. Okay, and you can make just a little village right down there. Okay, the most famous thing about that Starry Night would be that glowing moon, the stars, and the swirls in the sky. Okay, those swirls he painted in the sky made it look like you could actually see the wind swirling. Okay, so have fun with those swirling lines, boys and girls. And also draw some swirls around your moon. Okay, and your stars. And add some lines throughout your background, the landscape right there. Okay, so everybody knows Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night. So when I got down here to Pete Mondrian's design, we've all studied Mondrian. Mondrian started out as a landscape artist, and his paintings quickly changed when he was introduced to Pablo Picasso's Cubism. So all of a sudden his landscape art started to change little by little. Next thing you know, and what made him so famous were his straight, horizontal, and vertical black lines that created a series of squares and rectangles on a white canvas. And because the primary colors are the 3 most important colors, those were the only colors he used in his geometric and pop art. Okay, so in drawing the canvas where I'm going to have Mondrian's art, I actually made those lines going around here pretty thick. Made that nice and thick, nice thick lines with my black marker. And I divided up, going with a horizontal line all the way across, another vertical line up and down, and then I can add some short lines to break this up even smaller. One thing we talked about when we learned about Mondrian and did our own Mondrian art, we did not put two colors that were the same side by side. So I would not put a red here, I would not put a red here. Okay, you can see how the blue is separated and so is the yellow. Okay. Then we move on to Miro. We didn't have a chance to talk about the artist Miro this year, but he's a famous abstract artist, and his art is very much like a dream world. That's called surrealism. So Miro was famous for his surrealism, his dream world abstract art, just sort of crazy little creatures that he'd make and lots of straight lines and lots of shapes. Okay, so that's Miro. So you can make some, you can do a circle or an oval and just create and have fun. Use your imagination. That's what abstract art is all about. It doesn't look like anything real. That's realistic. This is abstract, so use your imagination there. Okay, we come over here to Kandinsky. Kandinsky was an artist who became famous for his repeat pattern of circles. Kandinsky loved music a lot as well, along with art, and he felt that when he listened to music, he could actually see music in color. So he loved to listen to music and paint. And there's no special pattern with color. Okay, so we know a pattern is two or more of the same thing, which he did with circles, but he did not create a special pattern when it came to color. All right, so when you create your canvas for Kandinsky, I drew a rectangle. Okay, I divided it with 1, 2 horizontal lines, 1, 2, 3 vertical lines, and in each one of those little boxes, I drew my series of circles. Large, medium, and the small is almost like a dot in the middle. Okay? I'm going to go down here to Pablo Picasso and his Cubism. We all know that Picasso was an amazing, realistic artist at the age of 15, but then by the time he reached the age of 57, he was tired of drawing in realism. He was the first one to create Cubism. All right, so when you make your portrait with Cubism, think about dividing it down the middle, making eyes that are two different sizes. You can draw shapes in the face. Hair color can be any color you want it to be, okay, and then break up your background. It's almost like a puzzle, and if it were to fall on the floor, it would all break apart into different pieces. Sometimes I think that's what Cubism looks like. So I wanted a more decorative frame for this one, and I drew my 1, 2 horizontal lines, and then 1, 2 vertical lines for my first large rectangle. I went inside to draw a smaller rectangle, just like I did with Van Gogh's Starry Night. 2 diagonal lines at the top, 2 diagonal lines at the bottom. Now it looks more like a picture frame. You can do something more, giving a little bit more detail. Watch if I add a wavy line across the top of the frame here, a wavy line going down the side of the frame here. This gives my famous artwork just a little bit more detail, okay, with a fun frame like that. So think about doing something like that. Here I've already drawn my cubist face, all broken up into shapes. And again, continue the background. Think of a puzzle. If you were to design a puzzle with Cubism, what would it look like? Breaking that all up. Okay, boys and girls. And the last famous artwork I put in George Rodrigue, who is famous for his blue dog paintings. Okay, we talked about George Rodrigue's Blue Dog at Anchor. I'm not sure if the Beacon kids did that, but Blue Dog was inspired by George Rodrigue's dog when he was a child. The dog's name was Tiffany, and sat by his bedside when George Rodrigue was sick in bed with polio. And for many, many weeks, he was drawing and painting in bed. And as an adult, when he became an artist, he remembered his dog Tiffany and brought out a photograph and started painting many, many pictures of Tiffany and always made her blue. Okay, so we had started with a circle for Tiffany's head. Okay, just a circle. And then we put a zigzag across the top, okay, for the top of the nose area. Brought our little nose and mouth down like this. And boys and girls, you may pause the video at any time, okay, so that you can get caught up. Big ears, okay, big pointed ears on both sides. And then Tiffany was always in his paintings, Tiffany was just sitting up, always watching and looking curious. All right, and his backgrounds were also very abstract and very surreal. So I am just going to add a straight line, a horizon line. The sun sets on the horizon, and watch, I'm going to put a sun right there. But I'm just going to add some curved lines to give it like a flowy, organic look in the background. And some more wavy lines right here for the ground. Okay. All right. Now you can just do a portrait of a dog or a cat. It doesn't have to be blue dog. You don't want to do blue dog. Okay. Now the last thing I want to show you is how to draw the backs of the children's heads, looking up at the art. Let's start with this little girl. So I wanted to do ponytails. Okay, just like the girl in the story. So I'm drawing sort of the circle shape, but I've got a line down the middle to divide where her part is. Okay, so, and then we're going to show the hair is pulled back into these ponytails right here. Again, pause the video wherever you need to. Okay, so we've got our little ponytails there. And then over here with this little boy, okay, I'm going to draw a curved line for his head. All right, and then a zigzaggy line right here for some hair. Okay, curved lines for the ears, back of the neck. Okay, shoulders on the top of the shirt, which I forgot, the back of her neck. Okay. Now the shirt can just be a solid color like this one. Right here I added stripes like the little girl in the book. And boys and girls, if you have a black marker to outline, go ahead and do that. Again, don't forget your scrap paper. You may add color with crayons, colored pencils, markers if you'd like. We would love to see your museum art. If you'd like to have your parents take a picture and send it on to Mrs. Nichols or to me, that would be fantastic. All right, boys and girls, good luck, have fun. Okay, until next time. All right, bye-bye.